Hello, I'm Dr. Roger Bromé, and this is PsychClips. Today, I want to talk about bad examples and bad information. Bad examples and bad information can be extremely useful in helping you to sharpen and hone what you know and how well you know it. It's a way of getting better and developing expertise. If you like PsychClips and you like videos like this, please subscribe, hit the bell, like, and share so that I can justify time making more and more of these videos and contributing to the other videos that are out there. Bad examples and bad information are an important part of knowledge. Carl Jung said that when we know what something isn't, we have at least learned something. We've learned what something is not. That doesn't mean that we know what it is. So when we see a bad example or we get some bad advice, sometimes bad advice comes packaged as really, really good advice. The reason for that is because sometimes things that are not true still make sense. And so because the rationale behind it makes sense to us, we incorporate that, we give it a try and try it out and see if it works. Oftentimes, even things that are not very good advice can work sufficiently enough to have us believe in them for a period of time and to incorporate those in the things that we do. But bad advice and bad examples at some point will show themselves to be the case when they bump up against a conflicting or a contrary opinion. That's what's really, really important about when you're doing your learning. You should spend a lot of time reading, and you should spend a lot of time viewing videos for information on things that you want to learn so that you can really start to get a sense of what the consensus is as opposed to what unique particularities are. Unique particularities are those kind of pieces of information or those kind of perspectives that are really outliers. Now, you got to be careful with it because sometimes the outliers are those things that somebody innovates and it ends up pushing the needle. I think probably a good example of this is Louis Simmons at Westside. The guy was willing to try just about anything, and there's all sorts of quirky stories about different shoes that he tried, different techniques that he tried. And recently on one of the episodes of Dave Tate's Table Talk I was listening to, Dave talked about how they tried certain things, a lot of different things, a lot of different pieces of equipment, a lot of techniques, and the things that kind of proved themselves to really be solid were the things that they held on to, and these things that were kind of maybe a little quirky or a little innovative that didn't seem to, they made sense, and so they made enough sense to incorporate them, but they just really didn't work the way that they needed them to work, and so they just discarded them. It's the same thing. You've got to expose yourself to a little bit of bad information and a little bit of bad examples so that you can compare that to what you're learning in the good examples and the good information that you're getting from people who have a lot of experience with it or a lot of knowledge and expertise of their own. Expertise is not really learning the textbook. Expertise is learning how to come up with novel solutions to novel problems. And that's why when you are looking for a coach and you want to consult with a coach, you don't need to have a coach that knows everything. You just need a coach that knows how to know what you don't know and how to get you to understand how to modify that limitation or that weakness that you want to work on. So one of the things in starting down this road of building expertise is, of course, you at least want to have what we call a working knowledge of something. So I would say this: if somebody is just starting to lift weights, they're just starting to get in the gym, they want to lose weight, they want to look better, they're truly a beginner, they don't need a coach, they need an instructor. And so you need somebody, and whether they call themselves a coach or whatever they call their title doesn't really matter. You need somebody that can do instruction. that that can incrementally and with the very basics say, this is what you need to do, and then you need to do this, and set up a process so that you can have something that is a good, solid foundation. Once somebody gets to be kind of an experienced intermediate lifter, or at least especially an advanced lifter doesn't need a coach to tell them what to do and how to do it. They need a coach to guide them. Just like a football coach doesn't go out there and micromanage every player in the NFL team that they have. All of those players in the NFL are all the top players. They know their job, they know their position, they know their spot, they know their teammates. The coach's job is to make sure that the team stays coordinated and that different things that end up in the athlete's blind spot can be brought to mind so that the athlete can solve that problem. So you're looking at a coach, you're looking for somebody that's an advisor, not somebody that is an instructor. And so that's something that you really have to think of. Some people may be really, really good instructors. And as a beginner, you might start with them. And at the point that you outgrow their knowledge and you outgrow their instructor abilities, you might move on to look for somebody that takes more of a coaching role. Conversely, there's some people that really only want to coach advanced lifters. They don't want to deal with setting up basic programming and that kind of stuff. All things performance work that way, whether it's musical performance, dance performance, or sports performance, is you want to go from instruction to being coached. And when you really reach a level of expertise, you still end up with the top athletes still are coached in some way. They still have advisors to give them good advice. And then with that expertise, you have to spend time exposing yourself to some of the garbage out there in order to keep your discernment kind of dialed in, so that you can know. Some of the guys online will talk about it as a BS meter, that you just get to the point that you're kind of like, no, that guy's full of it and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Especially when you run into somebody that is doing something online and what they're doing is just regurgitating somebody else's material, those kind of things. Or what they're doing is they're relying on some basics, but they're packaging it really great. We see a lot of that with people who are influencers, that really what they have to add is more of an entertainment value by the aesthetics they use, or the way that they present the camera shot, the fact that they're gorgeous or whatever. Those kind of things are the kind of things that have an entertainment value to you that may not have much of a content information value. And that's okay too, because I think that there's a time for physical culture entertainment, just as much as there is a time for sitting down and really listening to some of the podcasts that get pretty technical, pretty in depth. And of course, there's time to sit down with, a good fitness and strength textbook and really learn anatomy, physiology, and those kind of things. So what I would encourage you to do with good information and bad information is don't get too wrapped around the axle about bumping into it. When you see an influencer online, somebody like a Liver King or something like that that's got all these things, spend as much time with it as you need to have the bad information give its effect. And remember that, wisdom is gained through experience and through reading and through learning and through discussions with other people. But you gain that wisdom by not only acquiring good information from experts, but also bumping into the bad information from charlatans, cheats, and frauds. So things we know online are not always what they appear. And so as you start looking at some of these videos, even some of the gym culture videos of, videotaping people and all of this stuff that's been on lately and people have been responding to, think about it in terms of a bad information or a bad example of the way that you don't want things to be, or how you wouldn't want to do things, or how you wouldn't want to be captured doing things, and then see what it is you can modify about your own situation and your own perspective to sharpen it and make it better. So this is Dr. Roger Romay with PsychClips. This is my perspective on bad information and bad examples and how they can actually make you better.